are aware of these things, basics, then you can always, whatever you're cooking or you're doing, then you are able to play around with it, and you are able to get that food, the flavor and the taste out of it. Until you otherwise you will have to remember the recipes and go by this, or always Google and then work on it. Then you are left with you're never able to get the same taste as the person who originated the dish. So I think getting to know the basics of the cuisine, the Indian gastronomy, to learning the principles of that. Once you are aware of those things, and the what food, what, like Chef Razdan was saying about the doshas and uh, those things, people should know. Even pitta, vata, and all those people, the cook should know, and he's able to give his client, his guest, his the person who's serving, who's being served, what sort of physiology does he have, what was the nature he has, and he can accordingly prepare the food as per the feelings and emotions. If it is a place, a time when it's a morning, you can't have a celebration over there. It is more of a subdued food, which is very pure and healthy when you are having a religious function. But if you are having a celebration, if a marriage or a birthday or a some sort of a you know celebrations, then you need a lot of food which is you indulge in those foods. You need to go in for food which is not only looking nice, it's spicier, it's good, and you have the lot of desserts along with it. So it depends on how you, if you are able to know the principles of cuisine, of course, gastronomy, you'll be able to give the food. And of course, recipes are, you have to play around with recipes. Recipes, you can't, you need to know the principles. Once you are aware of this, your mastery of that, then you can cook wherever, whichever dish you want to cook. This is what I think.
Well, Chef, thank you so much. Chef Razdan, I'll come back to you. You being from the academic field now, do you think there is a need for subjects like, to enhance flavors and feelings, and maybe subjects on Ayurvedic learnings of food in institutes?
Completely agree. Yes, it is very much important. Ayurveda is the oldest science, medical science that is available to us, and it extensively deals with food. It talks about the effects of food that you have. It talks about the seasons. We talk about seasonality of the foods. Now, what is happening? We are going away from Ayurveda. In fact, today you can have a Loki 12 months a year. You can have cauliflower 12 months a year. But we don't understand the effect that it has on body when it is consumed in the off season. It is at its best as far as taste is concerned, as far as its nutrition is concerned, and as far as its effect on the body is concerned. It is at its best when it is in the season. So when it goes out of season and you still eat it, you may be enjoying it as per se, but then you don't realize the effect that it has on your body. So Ayurveda talks about all this. It talks about all this, and I would say time has now come that students get to know about it at an early age, so that by the time they get to that level where they cook for people in hotels, they are aware of all these effects that come to your body because of wrong eating habits and wrong timings and other things also. So I strongly would recommend that we introduce Ayurveda cooking in our curriculum in all culinary schools also. Very important, I think.
So hopefully we should see that in maybe a couple of years, or maybe in a year.
Yes. The sooner the better. The sooner the better.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Chef. Chef, my next question is for Chef Sanjeev Verma. Chef, how we see a lot of people using artificial flavorings nowadays, So do you think using artificial flavoring can bring the same kind of the texture or the emotional connect for the food as would a natural flavoring would do for any dish?
Shabali, I don't know. I don't want to criticize the artificial flavors because it's become a part of our life, and a lot of bakery chefs would have a objection on you and me objecting to it, right? Because one, the natural flavoring um, is definitely better, but then the artificial flavoring does have an edge over the others, and we also must remember that these artificial flavorings have somehow been derived out of the natural flavoring itself. So clearly, definitely there is nothing wrong, nothing wrong in using. I personally feel, but you see, I personally feel that because I'm into commercial, I have my own restaurant and I need to convert my food which I produce into my earnings so that I can earn money out of it. So I have realized over a period of time that whatever natural flavorings you give, the customer demands more than that. So once the customer demands, I mean, I have to satisfy who's eating, right? As a chef, uh, if I if I do not get, let's say, a vanilla essence out of a natural this thing, and the amount of natural uh, vanilla I use, it does not smell of vanilla. The customer is not going to eat my cake. So it becomes so much more important for me that I have to tell him that yes, this is an orange cake, right? And this, how much ever I might try out of the zest of an orange, it will not smell of orange. So I don't know. Ethically, Ayurveda wise, all these things we might be wrong in that. But then technically, if my product doesn't sell, where am I as a chef?
Right, chef. At the end of the day, we need to convince our customers, for the
At the end of
product
the
that
day,
they are
we
buying.
do need to convince our customers, but then you cannot reach out to the masses. I mean, this is what I personally feel that, uh, yeah, certain amount, something like Ajinomoto in soup, right? You will not be able to sell your soup without Ajinomoto, at least in middle class and low middle class restaurants. You can convince a very high middle class or five-star or high to something that we make food without Ajinomoto. But try convincing someone on the roadside who's got a cloud kitchen or a takeaway kitchen. That why is he not getting the orders?
Hmm. Very true. Chef, again, I would like to ask, since you are running, obviously, a very, a full-fledged restaurant many years now, do you think you see any rise or decline in family meals in terms of people coming out together to eat?
No, no, definitely not. I personally feel that now there are more families which are coming out rather than having meals at home. And this trend is going to grow because cooking, especially celebrating something, they're all going out and they're going out more often than not. uh, I, I personally feel that like in the olden days, if someone got married in your family, you would probably call that person home कि यार उसका खाना करना है. That's what everybody used to say, that we
Yeah.
have to call the newly wedded home to have a meal with them, with their family. Now uska khana karna hai means you take them out to a good restaurant and treat them out. So this thing is definitely, eating out is going to be the in thing in the coming probably 10 years or more. But yeah, this fact is that eating out would always grow in India, at least for the next few years to come.
Correct. Right. Thank you so much, Chef. My next question would be for Chef Ravikant. Chef, like every dish has a story, people say. So, is there anything that you see around you since you started consultancy also now that people demand for in terms of flavors, or maybe they want to relive their childhood taste, and they demand for that certain kind of dish which is not there available in the market?
There are a lot, chef. Let us pick one thing. We have Tilkuts here in Varanasi. So those kind of things, which are getting vanished now. I mean, because of the modernization, the more, you know, gastronomy approaches and all. I have seen, people with the regional touch, they are getting away now. As of now, I feel like more the foods from Western countries. I mean, I'm not against of that, but the influences are more there. You know, I have seen people, craving out when they see the dishes. Let us say we have laya in our place. When they see that, when they see chuda matar, suddenly, so they recall those all memories. Obviously, there are so many recipes over here, at our places, and I believe in any part of the country. When you go, there are few of the recipes where people can, connect with that thing. Uh, Coming on to the part, yes, I have gone through this. Like when I was working, especially when I was in Paris and I was working there, people used to demand a lot of food, which I used to cook in Banarsi style. So let us say if I'm working in a restaurant and I get someone from my place in UP East, people who they belong from this part, they used to demand always lesunya murg. So such kind of recipes, which you don't, get over there. I mean, it's very rare. So we have our own style of spices. We make like bukni masala we prepare and many more. So these all are been, hereditary for us, and we used to prepare all such kind of masalas and the recipes. Uh, Even though if you see the drinks in summers, we see aam ka panna and all, people are crazy for those stuff, but generally we in restaurants and all are not serving them. I mean, there are, as we were talking about the artificial flavors and all, so we have sodas based drink and all we are serving, but we are not pinching to the regional kind of thing. So aam ka panna, if we do it in a more way, gastronomical aspect, and we can try to push it, to serve, people will obviously buy it. So I think there is a connection.
Right. Thank you so much, Chef. My next question is for Chef Gautam. Chef Gautam, you're based in Mumbai. So
Yes.
Mumbai being considered as a fast-paced city, and where people come and move out quickly.
Yes,
So
yes.
how do you see people connect with the food when they come to dine out? Do you think they really give time to relish the flavors and get the right feel of the atmosphere and the food? Or do you think it's just
So-
to fill up their tummies?
So, it again depends like upon what kind of a restaurant that they're walking into. If you're talking about a fine dine and if there's a family walking in, yes, they would relish the meal. They would love to spend time with each other. But if you're talking about youngsters who are walking into a restaurant, I really don't feel that, they have that time to, actually relish the meal that they're eating. So what happens is, they are in so much hurry that they actually don't understand the whole concept that a chef wants them to understand about the food that is being served to them. So that's what's happening out here. And just because of that, what I felt, just because of the lockdown as well, what I started doing was I started doing chef's table. So what I do out there is I go to a host's place, I create a menu, I make sure that I get them to spend good time with their family, at the same time relish the food that they're eating, with me explaining them the actual concept behind me creating this dish for them. So this is something which is actually picking up right now, where people are kind of want to have meals at home with family, and they're avoiding to go out because again the cases are going up. And the rush out here with the people is so much that they don't really have the time or that energy left in them to actually enjoy the meal, or like maybe savor what they're eating, is what I really feel. And this is what is missing, which shouldn't be like that, you know.
Okay. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for your feedback on that.
Thank you so
my
much,
next
Chef.
question is for Chef Ravikant again. Chef, how safe do you think customers feel now in today's time after COVID about eating out? And are there any new flavors that people have been demanding for?
Chef, like in pandemic, I have been even traveling also. So the observation is based on the places I have seen during this pandemic. I mean, which started as first is Chef. I will start with the rumors. What I recollect in last of the talk, I was speaking about the same. So the rumors, when this COVID heated up, the people stopped eating meats and all. So there was a myth that the COVID could spread, through, because it's contagious, it will spread through meats and all. And I was the first guy to shoot the email to my director that we should stop, serving meats and all. So I think one, we should, when we pass something to the people being in this white uniform, it is our responsibility that we not sound like a charlatan first. We should have the food scientists and nutritionists to listen first, and then we should, just take it on further. Second, Chef, there have been a lot of changes I have witnessed. I mean, people have started cooking in home and, cherishing their own, style of preparations. For example, if I went to Surat, they were preparing their own style of meals, the Gujarati meals, and also inclination towards the regional food was much. That I have witnessed in most of the parts. When we come down to my place here, obviously, yes. And, the kind of QSRs that is started opening after the impact of, let us say, after 5 months, I feel the QSRs were opening very fast. I mean, some of them were getting shut, but many of them were opening as well. So people were, demanding a lot of fast food kind of things, cafe style of menu, what we say in general. It was in much demand. I mean, the pastas you say, or whatever you can say, which could be prepared very easily and quick. Obviously, the delicacies from the region, regional food were also in demand. I think living in home, people would have cherished more of the homemade style of food. And, the palates obviously has adopted it. It's all about the taste profile that we carry with us, and that is still keep happening what we start consuming and all. So I think people are relishing more onto the home style food, in my perception. Or if they are trying to order, they are trying more of the fast food kind of things. And literally, because I have seen restaurants getting developed in this time. In past 3 to 4 months, I have seen this cafe style or the QSRs, what we generally say, are getting in more demand, as in my perception, Chef.
That's very interesting to know. My next question is for Chef Sybil. Chef, how can we enhance the experience of flavors for certain ingredients which are making a comeback into the kitchen? Like, for example, millets. We see a lot of millets being used since COVID time. So there are a lot of people who have bought millets, but I personally see that they don't know how to use it, So how can we enhance the experience of a customer and how to, use these kind of products?
Just a minute. Where are we? Angad? Angad?
Chef, we can hear
Chef,
you.
We can hear you, Chef.
Oh, sorry. I lost my screen. Okay. Anyway, we are talking about millets and the new grains which are there. These things were already there thousands of years earlier also. It's only during the during the middle of the century that we have started using the other food, which it was not only it was because of the commercial reasons, because of the other reasons also, because of the land which we'd be using. The wheat and rice or lentils were the only things which were pulses we were using it. But now with the millets, which we have forgotten, there are certain areas where we're still Jawar, Bajra, and now in Karnataka, where they have started using tests, trying with those and different types of millets, in whether it's Uttaranchal or even in Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka, a lot of millets are being tried and grown. This millets, they are not only good for the for nutrition, but for purpose of the land, because agriculturally, if you keep on growing, having the same crop again and again, this will not have, they start losing the nutrition, the strength of that the soil. And if the millets, there are certain, like the test, I'm talking about the test millet, which was being used in Ethiopia, where this has come from, in fact, very popular over there because of the famine over there, and tests would grow over there with the minimum of water irrigation, and the soil also did not be toiled the way which we do it in our country. So and you can make so many dishes out of it, different versions which we have never tried. Now is the time which this item is being now tried and tasted and is being brought in the market. In fact, now I believe those Nutri bars are also coming up tests. Very soon it will be in the market. And similarly, the millets bring a lot of these are things which people need to learn. This responsibility lies on the white jackets. We need to, we chefs are the influencers. They can only influence the style, the design, the type of things which people love, because by the time with the social media and the television invasion, the chefs, people have started respecting the chefs, the views of the chefs. And thanks to, of course, the celebrity chefs of our country on the television, as well as on TV shows, food shows, as well as our own chefs who, through these symposiums and like your associations are doing. This responsibility lies on the association as well, because we need to not only tell the people, the public, but at the same time influence of the owners as well as in the government also, to start certain items like FSSAI is started promoting these things. They are they started this. They have started with they formed Nutri-Profan. They have got all those associations together to design and to work on various uh, millets and other types of food which can be utilized, used, and brought into in the public platform, so that it could be used for masses, and it not only bring taste but even nutrition to the underprivileged, to other people. And what Anshul was saying of wastage, I think that's also another aspect which we need to take care of. Food wastage has to be avoided for such things. And Rahul has been, you yourself have been working a lot on the slow food movement, and this is where they promote the millets and the food of the native of those areas only. And of course, what Chef Razdan was saying about the seasonal food, you have to go with the seasonal food, the fresh food, and of course the local food. Yeah.
Right, Chef. Thank you so much, Chef. My next question would be for Chef Pathak. What changes of flavors and taste do you think will evolve in future?
Chef, is it question to me?
Yes.
Sorry, I got a call. Can you repeat the question, Chef, please?
It is what kind of change in flavors and taste do we see to evolve in future in in Indian cuisine?
Chef, to be very honest, Chef, you will slightly agree to me. The fortifications in the flavor will be at most. I mean, and plus, we are getting more into the scientific approaches regarding the flavors and all. When I speak to the scientists over here, who they are in agricultural university in Banaras Hindu University and all. So I have seen, getting the experiments done. I mean, what the producers we get, that kind of the taste profile will be developing in coming times. So I believe, the fortification is at topmost what the research, etc. are going on, especially in Banaras Hindu University. Fortification in terms of the, the flavor will be more stronger. I mean, than the rare engines in the, what you have in your local producers. And I think this has been started being on, the scientists, all they were working on this since very long. So I think the producers will be getting in abundance and we will be using in restaurants. And I think this profile will get changed. More on that, Chef, I think people will go more towards the organic producers. As I said already, the organic will be in more demand as of now. Like we are pushing more to the regional food and all. But obviously, the both things will be in very parallel. I think the rapid restoration will also make changes in the taste buds of the people. I mean, more creamy, more cheesy kind of stuff will be seen. I mean, the use of the dairy products in India will be increased a lot, like we see in the Western countries. I think people will be more accepting the flavors from different parts of the world, as we are now a technology-driven country, and it is very easy to get access about any of the producers that we need. So, for example, there is a cheese in Himachal Pradesh, so I tested it up. So I was not knowing about it. So it's just like Parmesan. I'm sure you know about it. It's very hard. So I would definitely use it in my kitchen and will accept those flavors. So this is just within the country. I mean, it's a domestic product, I must say. But people will be getting access to the producers that will be imported, throughout the world. And I think that will play a very significant role in changing the flavors, of the customers. Chef, I'm done. Hello.
Sorry, thank you so much, Chef. My next question is for Chef Gautam. So Gautam, how do you think we
Chef.
can change the perspective of a customer to start using more, regional flavors and regional ingredients? Because I've seen a lot of customers hesitate a lot of time in using certain regional flavors which are not known to them, because they're not fully knowledgeable about it, maybe. So how do you think we
Right.
can change that perspective, whether in a restaurant or a hotel or even at home for that matter?
So for a person to, actually be able to adapt, it's very difficult. What happens is it's from their own per se, like they feel that, certain ingredients are like, we cannot actually consume it because this looks like this. I mean, so if, for example, mushrooms, if you consider, a lot of Gujaratis have an issue with mushrooms because it looks very, very alien kind of an object to them in their own terms, what I would say. So what I suggest is, what I try to convince people is, just give it a try. You're always supposed to give anything a try so that you get to know what the actual product is, what the taste profile of that product is, and there are chances that you'll actually love the ingredient so much that you might just end up eating it almost 2-3 times a week. And this is what actually happens. So I have actually done that. When I do Chef's Table, I've made sure that people, when they tell me that this is something that we don't like, I always tell them, just taste this once, and maybe your perception towards that ingredient would change. And it has changed, because I am pretty happy of saying that I have bought changes in a life of at least 10 people who've ignored having certain ingredients, but now they actually do consume it because they lack the knowledge about, so it's always just going to happen when a person who knows about the ingredient, who goes and tells them that this is what the ingredient is, these are the health benefits of that ingredients, and the consumption of this is not going to cause any harm to you. So it again depends upon a person's word to mouth mode of a conversation kind of a thing, because otherwise there are documents which are available on Google, but still some people would try to read but still unread it.
All right.
Yeah.
But I think having some seminars in future, or maybe some workshops to enhance, or maybe do tasters, for people who have not had or tried certain ingredients can also help.
Right. I second
Oh.
that. Yeah, right.
Chef Sanjeev,
Yes.
would you have any thoughts on the same?
Oh yeah, I have. I personally endorse the fact that there are a lot of things behind that, because it's basically what I call the mother influence. You know, when you're born with something, it's like, for an Indian, having a caviar is almost like, you know, having something which is very bad, right? Now, a lot of Indians might just puke on just the smell of a caviar. Okay, so it could be that certain ingredients might not just suit a particular region or a particular religion, right? Something like pork for a lot of Muslims and beef for a lot of Indians uh, would uh, have effects not only by smell or something like that, just mentally. Uh, they would repulse those factors. So I personally feel that I would try to stay away from these stronger feelings and emotions and flavors. The subtle ones can be introduced slowly and steadily, but the more strong flavors and the more strong emotions which occur out of certain things, which are because of how you've grown up in life. You know, like at the age of, you can change somebody at the age of 8, 9, 10, but changing the basic intake of a 25-year-old to a 40-year-old becomes very difficult. So we also got to look at the age profile of the person whom we are feeding.
Very true, Chef. Right. I have one last question, and this is I'm going to ask everyone one same question. I'm going to start with Chef Sybil first, please. My question is, how do we see the future of Indian flavors in international market from now on after COVID?
Very good. We have seen, we have discussed earlier also with the chefs who've been moving around in the during the COVID time also. There has been, when people were held up in their homes, they had to stay with the family. They learned quite a few things. Apart from the family life which they were missing, you know, being in the office or colleges or wherever they were working, workplace. Now they were staying with their families, and at the same time eating food with their families. This is one thing which everybody has picked up and learned, and they have started trying out different items also at home. Apart from those normal routine items of dal roti sabji, now they started because they were missing those pastas and pizzas and other things which they've been eating whenever they went out. So this of the responsibility, of course, lies on us only, the chef's white jacket. Of course, we have to, we play an important role in this also, to bring knowledge about, share this knowledge with the public, with the students, with the food enthusiasts. And at the same time, or through periodicals or magazines and, write-ups and blogs, and bring our items which are prominent of our specific areas. Certain, like we was talking about the cheese from Himachal, or some herbs, or from Uttaranchal. We have such a great variety of these things. We need to promote them also, and use those items in our food, and bring us, try that out in the other cuisines as well. This is how you will be able to take this ingredients to the world over, all over.
Thank you so much, Chef. Chef Razdan, your thoughts on the same question? Chef is here.
Chef Razdan, you got to unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, what I was saying is that Indian food is, on its way up globally. It is because of globalization, because of people traveling from and to India. So Indian food is finding its place. And during the pandemic also, there was a lot of talk about the Indian, Indian food in terms of how it helped the COVID. People overcome COVID, and people are talking about the food habits of India, which have, prevented the disease from spreading as was expected at the early stages of this pandemic. So there's only one way that Indian food can go, and it's only up. And of course, as we were talking some time back about Ayurveda, when we mix, Ayurveda into the foods, into the science of cooking now, there is bound to be acceptability, because people will see the difference that it makes to their, health, it makes to their moods, it makes to their feelings, and so on and so forth. So I would definitely say that Indian food is on its way up, and we need to promote it further. Of course, one thing I would definitely say is that we need to go back to the traditions, to the roots, the way the food was cooked, the way the food was served, the way the food was eaten. We need to promote that also, sitting down, chokri laga ke baithna, haathon se khana, all those things. We need to do that also, along with the ingredients also, because Indian traditions, they're all based on science. It's not that everything that we do, before the start of a meal, you put, drink a little water, what we call achman lena. That had its meaning, that was scientific. So we just don't know the meaning of what we are doing, why we are doing. We need to promote that also amongst the masses, so that there is acceptance, there is acceptability to the food. And also, as I was talking about some time back, seasonality. We need to convince younger generation that eating food in season is what will help them. And like Chef Sanjeev said, it's not easy to change habits of an adult. But yes, we need to address the younger generation, children, and make them eat that produce which is available in season, and which will definitely grow in acceptance, and yes, promote Indian food further. So there's a lot of scope for Indian food to grow, and it is growing. Definitely it is growing.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. Chef Sanjeev Verma, since you are one of the flag bearers in
I've always
Chandigarh for Indian
maintained this,
restaurants.
I've always maintained this, that we in India are not marketing our food the way it should be marketed. Our food is far more superior and far more complicated than, let's say, the French or
Yes.
British and something like that. So what is more necessary is not to grow laterally. That means the number of restaurants in probably, let's say, UK would be more than the number of French restaurants, right? So, but the fact is that we have to go vertically, that our food cannot be sold as a roadside dhaba food, right? I mean, our food has quality in it, and we as chefs have to ensure by whatever means which are now there latest, something like plating in the meals, or by promoting it through the Ayurvedic concepts, or by promoting it through whatever means we have, to glorify our food. Remember that if we do not glorify our own food, who's going to glorify the food, right? So we as associations and we as chefs should now have one target, that all over the world, starting from whatever world you have around you, the 10 people you have around you, to the 10 people you have around your city, to the 10 people you have around your state and your country, and so on, that start promoting your food in the way that this is the better food than any other food in the world. So I also admit that this is an inherent fault with we Indians, that we are not as bold, and that we go to everyone and say, look, I serve the best, or our cuisine's the best. But the time is ripe for us to penetrate, because the number of chefs which emerge out of India are far more volume-wise than anywhere in the world. I mean, you take up, for that matter, the tourism industry all over the world, for the matter, the cruise liners and so on, 40 to 50% of the chefs are from India. So why are we, and they are not making Indian food. why can't we somehow slowly but surely and steadily penetrate into that kind of a
Take minute,
format?
one. Rajat?
Yeah. So this is what I personally feel, that we need to market ourselves and self-glorify ourselves.
Moreover, I just wanted to add, Chef, what we're doing is, especially our younger generation, we are aping the West. What is, being eaten there, the pizzas and the burgers and the sandwiches. We have so much more variety to offer to our younger generation, but we need to start from home. Every chef, the kids at home, they need to be, they need to develop that taste for these foods. And of course, another thing, the Indian food, the Indian meal, so to say, it is the most balanced meal in terms of, in terms of providing nutrition to the body. It has the starch, it has the protein, it has the fiber. Whereas, you eat a meal in the West, which is more protein dominant and which is more starch dominant. And that's why you see a lot of obesity and heart related problems in that part of the world. So Indian food is, balanced in every respect, in terms of nutrition, in terms of effect on the body, in terms of effect on the mind. So that is why we need to, promote these things. We need to promote along with the dishes that we are making for the people.
Right. And mind you, I mean, these youngsters who are listening right now, I mean, go to the YouTube, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, all these handles here. Please go ahead and promote your food, because if you're not promoting, I mean, if you're just sitting there, then you are a sitting duck. You've got to be proactive. Now is the time that we got to be proactive rather than, reactive.
Very true. Very true. Talking about youngsters, what are your thoughts, Chef Pathak?
Chef, I really appreciate, and the thoughts which were been coming through the veteran chefs. Obviously, in my opinion, every food is very important. I mean, let it be from France, let it be from England or anywhere. But grown in Indian family, I always felt, and when I got trained in India as well, I should say that, we should actually focus on our food more, rather focusing on any other cuisine. And that has to start with the, culinary schools as well. So I remember in my first year, when I was in my college, we started from continental cuisine. I mean, how you can expect a chef, to not learn his own cuisine at first? I don't know how many colleges are doing it, but I think this has to be taken in serious consideration, where the first book that you should learn has to be the Indian cuisine food. The first classes that you attend in your culinary school has to be the Indian cuisine, rather it be from the region of Punjab, rather it has to be from the region of Uttarakhand, Bihar. And you know what, Chef, I obviously feel one more thing that, when it's very much concrete, I must say, very candid, that we Indians have, underrated our food. I tell you how. Let us set an example. If I'm standing on a street and if I have a liti in my hand, which is very popular in our place, liti or bati, with a sip of tea, if I eat, people will see me with face, okay, right? So they don't respect. So this respect has to be inculcated. If I have this slice of pizza or any burger or a club sandwich, whatever I'm eating on the street, people will say, okay, bahut badhiya, cool hai. So I think the perspective by which we see our food has to be changed. The young generation has to be trained into the kitchen, starting from their own cuisine. And I felt this personally when I was in France and I was hunting for my job. I was not chosen because I used to cook very good French cuisine. I was not knowing anything about it much, rather than what we have learned in college. I was chosen because the chef who was going to train me in the French kitchen wanted me to make some Indian recipes in his restaurant, wanted to know more about our spices. Second one will be coming up, Chef. We need to understand our producers. We are importing producers like flint corns, from some part of any other country. We are not aware that we are growing those flint corns in Northeast. Lai patta, which is obviously a mustard, from the mustard family, you can say. Its spawns are more big. It tastes like mustard. We don't use those kind of producers. So I believe that, the education and research has to be gone vice versa. the training modules that are being taken care by the institute in India has to be changed. It has to be specifically, starting from the Indian one. When you don't know your base, you can't cook anyone else's food good. Last time I was listening to Chef Jugesh Arora ji, the SICA president. He was telling that one of his friend in Africa, he discussed with him that whenever he used to interact with the Indian chefs, and he used to ask that this French cuisine or this German cuisine or whatever.
We lost.
Sorry, I got a call. So they used to say yes, but when they used to speak about their own, Indian food, they used to take their hands on. So, I think the training module has to be actually changed by the institute. This is my strong, feel when as an Indian, as a countryman, when I think about my food, then I think that the education has to be served at priority for my cuisine, for our cuisine, and that respect has to be given by the institute and by the
Right.
chefs as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Chef Pathak. And with this, I think I'm done with all my questionnaires here. Thank you so much for everyone. And I know we can talk a lot more on it, and we can spend a whole night on this. But looking at the time, and I hand over the session back to Chef Virender. Please take over. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Chef Rahul.
Thank you, Chef
Thank
Rahul.
you, Chef.
So now this is a small collaboration, not small, a big collaboration with two associations. So congratulations to both the associations for joining and together.
Many congratulations to all.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Chef. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chef, and we congratulate
Thank
you
you
on
so
behalf
much.
of Varanasi Chef Association as well.
Yeah.
Looking forward for
Thank
a
you so
great,
much.
collaboration with each other.
Sure, Chef, sure.
Thank you.
And whenever you hear coming to this side of the country, please call us up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Sure.
100%, 100%.
So thank you all. As our theme, we have gone through with the ingredients, flavors and feelings, and we have created the feast here. All the chefs together have made and put lot of efforts, and we can say lot of spices have been added by all of you, and we have prepared our national dish here. And ingredients function in part of form of flavor profile of food. So ingredients provide and creates the mood or behavior. So it's depend upon the feelings and flavors of ingredients only. So as well as the chefs, being chefs, when we cook, it depend upon our mood also. So our mood plus ingredients moods together makes the mood of the guests. So this is the buzzword. So with this, I would like to close this session, and I would like to convey thanks to both the associations once again, Chef Association of Five Rivers as well as Varanasi Chefs Association, and we look forward for the support of each other in future events also. And now on behalf of KEFR, I invite all the Varanasi Chefs Association members. They can come to our region, and we will definitely explore all the places, and we can go there also later on. And we will be going to host our conclave maybe within next 2 months, and we are planning for that, and we need support and your presence at that also. And on behalf of my university, I convey thanks to all the members once again. And the final words from President KEFR.
Well, and now, just before we close, I would really like to thank all the chefs who have taken out time from their busy schedules. Chef Sybil, thank you very much for joining us, and your presence is an inspiration to all of us. Definitely, we really look forward to hearing from you always. Thank you very much, Chef Pathak, Chef Saurabh, and all the member chefs of Varanasi Chefs Association. And I really am looking forward to a very fruitful association wherein we exchange thoughts, ideas about food with each other, and help promote Indian food. And as you rightly said, Chef Pathak, that the curriculum of Indian hotel schools needs a little look in again. we need to promote Indian food in these schools. What's happening, what I have seen over the last 40 years, that our focus is more on continental food, French food, and now, all these Middle Eastern and Japanese and all those foods are being taught to children who may not have eaten them till the time they start cooking. So if they have eaten the food and they start cooking it, it's much easier for them to grasp it and to perfect it. So let's focus on the food that we eat at home, and offer the same food to the people traveling our country, because India has so much to offer, so much of variety, that if we start promoting the Indian food, it will take us a long time to completely offer what is available within the country. So we have to go with seasons, we have to go with availability, we have to help the farmers, we have to promote the food that they produce, and that's what is going to help the country, the food, move forward. So my best wishes to all of you, and may the Indian food prevail over all other foods, really. That's my wish. Thank you very much once again for joining.
Thank you, Chef Sudhir Sibal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
So being advisory member, you are always gives us advice and keep giving us, keep mentoring us. Thank you so very much, Chef. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Sibal.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Chef. Thank you so much, Chef.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sorry.